magazine, and people started asking me if I would sort of help them out doing interior design. And so I started doing that sort of as a nighttime job. Then I was promoted to become the president of one of the world's largest advertising agencies, and I was traveling all around the world, and I realized that really my job had become nothing more than basically putting out fires, dealing with problems, and I could have been running a paperclip company. The reason that I got into advertising in the first place was the creativity, and I was so far removed from the creativity, running 197 offices in 89 countries around the world, that I really thought I'm missing creativity. And I realized that I was having that creativity in my nighttime job, in my doing interior design. So I sort of decided, all right, I'm going to change everything, and I'm going to become an interior designer. And it was a real leap of faith, but it was something that has been wonderful, and I never have looked back. It's been a great ride.
I mean, you have just excelled phenomenally, and you have won so many awards. How do you feel? Like, what do you put down your success to?
I think it's very important to really follow your passion, but really do something that you really love. And I think that when you do that, it doesn't feel like work. It's something every day is just a wonderful opportunity to continue to grow and to learn. So I think that was an important thing. I think that my background in marketing actually helped me position myself as a designer. I came up with a philosophy of design that was called a world of comfortable elegance, which is the idea that just because something is beautiful does not mean that it can't be comfortable as well, that it can't be livable, that it can't be practical. And it's the marrying of those two things, the comfort and the elegance, that I think really helped position me as a designer. And so that within a very short number of years, I had a number of celebrity clients. I think within 5 years, I was named to the Architectural Digest list of top 100 designers in the world. And I think it's because I very clearly said, I want to stand for something. Because really, as a designer, you cannot be all things to all people. You really do have to represent a certain style or a certain philosophy.
And what is your style that you represent?
Well, I think that a magazine once described my style as European elegance infused with California comfort. And I think that really is sort of the best, because I grew up here in California. I've lived in Europe for a number of years. We still have an office. We have an office in Paris and one in California. So I really have one foot in each world. And I think it's the combination and the fusion of the two that really creates my style.
That's wonderful, and I know that through this fusion you have been, you've developed and engineered amazing products. So tell us a bit about some of them.
Well, you know, I actually love developing products. I think it's the marriage of my background in marketing with design, and I really love working with companies and developing new products for them. So I have a number, I think I've got 9 or 10 different licensed collections that I deal with different companies, and it ranged from rugs to plumbing fixtures to fabrics to, you know, sort of you name it, and I get to design it, and that's what's really fun. And I think that one of my favorite things is a collection. I brought one just to show you. Is this plate, which is for Royal Limoges. And Royal Limoges is the oldest porcelain company in the world. And what's interesting is that I started doing research, and I found that people were not using their fine china because they couldn't put it in the dishwasher. And I thought, that's crazy. And the reason you can't put it in the dishwasher is because of the gold, et cetera. And why have something beautiful that you're not using? So many people have their beautiful wedding china, and they use it at Christmas and at a holiday and Thanksgiving. And I really believe in living beautifully every day. So we came up with this beautiful china that has gold on it, that is actually dishwasher safe and microwave safe. So again, you don't have to make the trade-off between having something that is beautiful and something that is practical. And I think that increasingly that's what people are demanding. They're demanding a lifestyle and products where they don't have to make the trade-off between how something looks and how it performs.
Well, that is the perfect fusion of the French and the Californian.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
So you've also had this, you've just recently sold it, I hear, which I'm sure is a little disappointing for you, but it may be very exciting because you're moving on to a new project, this beautiful chateau in Paris.
Yes, well, I am for lack of a better word, I'm a bit of a chateau addict. I've owned 4 chateaux in France, ranging from the 15th century up through the 18th century. And I had a beautiful chateau, Grand Lucé, which there was a book about it called Invitation to Chateau de Grand Lucé, which was an award-winning book and best-selling book. And I'm coming out with a new book, but the addiction to restoration of these old chateaux is something that I love, because it's a combination of history and learning about the history of the buildings, but also about figuring out how you take something from a previous time and make it relevant for the way people live today, because no one lives with all those staffs and all that all those servants, et cetera. So it's taking these old structures and figuring out, well, what changes will you do to make it viable for today? And that's every bit as true when you look at some of the wonderful architecture here in California and Los Angeles, where you've got these great houses in Beverly Hills and Hancock Park and Pasadena, where they were built for a different time, and people live differently. And you have to figure out how to appropriately update them for today without losing the architectural integrity. And I think that's one of the fun challenges.
So how do you achieve that? Like, what's your process in achieving that?
I think the process is always a little different depending on the structure, but it's really looking at the structure, looking to see how you want to live in it today. A very good example is people oftentimes don't use their living room. The living room is the place that's look but don't touch. It's too fancy. It's too fine. It's not comfortable. Whatever it is, and so I'll talk to clients and I'll say, well, what will it take to get you to use that room? If it means putting a television in that room, fine. If it means something else, fine. We figure that out. We had a client in Bel Air who they said, we've never used our living room. We've used it 3 times in 20 years. And I started talking to them about how they lived and what they were passionate about. And the husband loved wine. And they had a very small little wine cellar in the basement. And I said, well, let's make your living room into the most spectacular wine cellar ever. So we lined the walls with beautiful refrigerated mahogany wine cabinets that allow them to have their passion. It's a part of the living room. It's a beautiful, I mean, really the art is the wine. And they now have, sofas and chairs and a small little table where they can entertain for dinner. And that's an example of adapting a room that would not have been used that way when the house was built in the 1920s, but it works for the way people live today. And I think that's just an example of always figuring out what it is that's going to make you use room. There's nothing, I think, more sad than having a room in your house that you don't use either because it's too fancy or just because you don't need it. Figure out what's going to take to make you use that room.
Well, everyone needs to have you come in and consult with them, because you can take them, make it look fancy and livable all at the same time.
Well, thank you. But honestly, I think that's really what an interior designer's job is. And it's not just me. I think it's really any good interior designer will do that and really help clients figure out how to make their home more livable.
So you mentioned you have a new book coming out.
I do.
So tell us about that.
My new book is called The New Elegance, and what The New Elegance really talks about, it's called The New Elegance, Stylish, Comfortable Rooms for Today. And what The New Elegance is really about is that concept that we've just been talking about, is that elegant used to be stuffy, fancy, used to be grandma's house. And what it's really about is making your life livable and elegant every single day. Use your good china every day. Use your good things. Use your living room. Really use your house and live in it beautifully. Don't be afraid to do that, because if not you, who? And if not now, when? So it's really that. It's that aspect of how you do that. And there are lots of things you can do. So we'll oftentimes take a beautiful antique and we'll cover it with marine varnish. And it doesn't hurt the value of the furniture, but it means you can put your coffee cup down and not worry about leaving a white ring on the table. You can spill and not worry about that. And that leads, I think, to other really amazing breakthroughs that are happening every day. Outdoor fabric. We've been using outdoor fabric inside the house for around 20 years. And it's gotten easier and easier to do that because there are so many beautiful outdoor fabrics. I've got a new collection that's coming out this fall with perennials. And again, these are beautiful fabrics that are reversed. Sorry, these are really just some of the preliminary ones. But again, you can have this beautiful fabric. This looks like an incredible flame stitch fabric, but it's all reversible, and literally you can put anything on it. You can put red wine on it. You can put anything on it, and it doesn't stain. So again, if you can have these beautiful kinds of fabrics in your home and not worry about how you live with them, that makes a huge difference. And the other area I think is carpets, because really, who wouldn't want a beautiful white carpet? But if you think about it, every dog, every kid, frankly, every adult, this is the enemy. I mean, this is the enemy, right? Who wants to have a white carpet when it's just going to be screaming out for stains?
Goes in the old living room that no one goes into.
Exactly. And what's so great about this is you can put a Sharpie permanent ink on this, and it will come out with simple Clorox bleach. So again, you don't have to make trade-offs. It feels beautiful. It looks like a beautiful soft wool or silk rug. But again, it's that example of living elegantly today is really about living practically, living comfortably in your home without making the trade-off for something that's beautiful.
So how do you go about developing these products? I mean, like this is amazing. Like you're saying that these are stain resistant, and those you can draw on them, and it all comes off. Like, how do you do that?
Well, I think it's what's incredible is that technology is changing so quickly, and so that it really is. It's important when you're looking at fabrics, if you're going out and shopping for yourself, look to see what the composition of the fabric is, and look carefully, because something called solution dyed acrylic is almost indestructible because the color is actually created with the fiber itself. So that's what allows you to bleach it. It allows you to get any stain out, et cetera. So red wine, magic marker, dog urine, anything will come out of this. And I think that's what's so wonderful. We recently did one of the world's, the largest house in Los Angeles, for example, and the woman of the house said, gee, I really want a white rug for my bedroom, but I can't because I got 3 dogs and they'll be destroyed. Well, we did one of these rugs that's white and with light blue, and she calls me almost every 3 weeks to say, oh my gosh, I love it. It's like I get to have my dogs and a white rug at the same time. And that's really what living elegantly today is about, is not having to make trade-offs between practicality and performance and beauty.
So you've done a number of chateaus, you've done some amazing homes. Has one stood out as your favorite?
I would say I've been very, very lucky to work on great projects. We've done the Royal Palace in a couple of different countries around the world. I've worked for royalty in 4 different countries. So I've had great projects. I've worked with celebrities like Madonna and Jay Leno. So I feel incredibly lucky to have done all the things I've done. I think that one of the most interesting projects that we're working on right now is the world's largest private yacht, which is a former British aircraft carrier, which is being turned into, it's being gutted down to the hull itself, and we're building 7 floors up. It'll have multiple helicopter landing pads and swimming pools, etc. But it will be the world's largest private yacht, and that's been a really fun project because I've done yachts before, but nothing of this scale. So I think that's the fun one right now, so it's a joy to be doing what I do every day.
It sounds like it. You're so passionate. It's like you just want to just be a part of it. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But I think that when you love what you're doing, as I said, it's not work, and that's why I think every day is so much fun for me.
So do you feel that when you walk away from a project, it's like distinctly yours?
No. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of interior designers, is that a lot of interior designers sort of say, you will have this pillow, or they'll give 2 options. We don't work that way as a design firm. We actually work with a client where we'll give them 10 different options for this, and then we'll give them 10 different options for that. And as they start selecting things down, we'll say, okay, well this new, here are 10 options, but really only 6 of those work with the choices you've already made. The reason we do that is that they feel that they have created their house. They don't feel that their designer has imposed their vision on them. It's not about me. I'm not living in that house. They are living in it. So it's very much, every single one of our projects are very much a real combination of what we bring them and what they want for themselves. And I really always try to say that what we try to give our clients is the best possible version of what they would want. And I think that's what makes it us a little different from a lot of design firms. But it's also what means that we get people who trust us, they come back to us. Around 70% of our business is from repeat business from existing clients or direct referrals. So that shows that people have enjoyed the process. It's important to get to design your home. My gosh, what a fun luxury. And it should be fun. And so that's what we try to make it fun, and we try to make them feel very much a part of the process.
So do you only work on grand projects? Because you've listed a wonderful list of amazing clients.
We tend to work on very big projects, but we do small projects. We just last year we did a 2,000 square foot house in West Hollywood, and I'm going to tell you that one was as much on a tiny budget. I mean, it was the budget for the whole house was what we might spend in a powder room on another project. But it was so much fun, and I think it's important to always work on different size projects, different budget projects, et cetera, because it's what makes you that much better as a designer.
Yeah, it's always challenging. Yeah.
Absolutely, and you don't get into a rut, you know. And I think that one of the other things is we really try very hard never to use the same product on one project or another, so that each one feels a little unique.
Oh, that must be very challenging.
Well, it keeps my designers on their toes. Sometimes when we get a new designer and they'll say, well, what are the 3 rugs you use, or what are the 4 tables? And we'll say, well, we don't work that way exactly here. And so it's always sort of an eye-opener for new designers when they join us.
I'm sure, because a designer has their favorite thing and they want to include it in every project.
But the point is, it's important that every project feel that it's unique and it's special. And particularly when clients know each other, you definitely don't want to have the same thing in the same house. We had one project we did here in Beverly Hills where the client said, I do not want one thing in my home that I can see anywhere else. So we literally did everything custom. We had fabric woven direct for them, we had custom furniture, we had antiques, we had wallpaper made especially for them, et cetera. Because I think that's also what luxury is becoming, is exclusivity. And I think that more and more that aspect of exclusivity will become a key factor in the luxury market.
That's very interesting. So did you use your same lifestyle and elegance even though you were custom making everything?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, because there's so many easy ways today to have materials that are practical, that are beautiful, and that are performance friendly.
So how did you come up with this concept?
It was really, I think, seeing how people live in Europe, which is they're surrounded by their beautiful things all the time, and they use them. Americans are very different. We tend to be much more, oh, that's the fancy stuff, that's the good stuff, that's the room, that's the living room, which we only use a couple times a year. And it was kind of a disconnect that I saw was, gee, we've got all the beautiful things, but we don't use them. And living in Europe as many years as I did, I saw that they are surrounded by them and they use them. And so it was really sort of figuring out how to bring the two together.
So you have your love for Europe. Do you get to spend much time there?
I do spend a lot of time. I've got an office in Paris, so I spend 1 week a month at our office there, and 1 week here in Los Angeles. And then because our projects, right now we're doing projects in 5 different continents, so I'm on the road a lot of the time as well. So, but I really love being all around the world because I find that I continue to grow and learn as a designer. And from a resource perspective, I'm always finding new products and things like that all over wherever I go.
Sounds like it just inspires you, like just to.
It absolutely. It's just every again, it's why every day for me it feels like such a joy.
It's amazing that you're able to do that.
Yeah, I'm very, very lucky.
So, as my final question, I like to ask all my guests this.
Okay, I'm ready.
But I think that it's just in your being. But what excites you right now? Could be work, life.
I think what excites me the most is that people are, as I was saying before, they're beginning to really take in that the importance of living beautifully every day. I think people are really beginning to understand that every day counts and that every day should be special, and that by surrounding yourself with things that make you feel good, you are actually healthier. Research is showing that there's a direct correlation between your environment and how your health. And I think that it's that understanding that if you live well, if you surround yourself with something that you really find beautiful, you'll be a healthier, happier, person. And I think that's the secret of good life.
It sounds wonderful. So, also, where can people find you?
People can find us on at www.timothycorrigan.com. My Instagram is Timothy Corrigan, and you can find my products at Perennials, at Schumacher, at Royal Limoges, all over the place. So but again, I'm easy to find. So, and I hope people do look for me. Thank you.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's a great treat. Thanks.
And thank you for watching the LA Home Show, where we discuss all things real estate, interior design, and much, much more.
Great. Thank you.
That was so awesome.
Thank you. That was okay? Really?
Fantastic.
Okay, good.
Bye for a picture.
Loved it.
Yeah, bye for a picture. We go.
Could have spoken to you for even
Yacht.
longer.
Where's the yacht gonna be?
Yeah.
It's
Where's it right now?
it's between Manila
Right?
and Amsterdam. That's a wild story, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
I mean, how are we not going to visit that? That's the part that I don't really get. Right. So how often do you think you're gonna spend time there? Or is it like a
I go to Manila every 3 weeks.
I want to come.
So
for the boat?
for the boat, yes.
So,
And
so do
what's-
you check on every project? Do you have
Oh,
a
yeah.
hand in every single
I
project?
do, and I think that's when I started. I said I was never going to get so big that I would not be involved in every single project. So we turned down a lot because I want to be involved in everything.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Are you stopping now?
So,
Yeah. Okay. So let me dewire you, let me, yeah, we're gonna do another quick one here.
Okay.
You're switching sides.
Yeah, we might switch sides.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we will sort of switch this. It's fine. You can look at the waveform and you'll see if you can look at the sound form and you can see if there's any gaps in the sound, but I don't think there'd be anything that you could notice. You can stop backup sound, by the way. Postmates, probably have to open a new one. You could try, put my name in, sign in, and put Studio 12 or Whiskey as my password.
So which firm are you with? Still with? Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's
Is it Studio 12 or what?
Really like.
Exactly.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, my student was
So how long have you been doing this?
No. Is it Studio 12? I tried
Might
that.
be. Did it work?
No.
All small, maybe capital S, Studio 12.
Yeah, but if I put it in wrong too many
Did
times.
that want me to keep that? Really?
Yeah.
Did you get the info?
No, we logged in too many times in a short period of time.
All right, so we will we'll go there.
So good.
So we will start a new account, I guess. All right, let's get everybody invited.
I know. Love her accent.
I like home show.
I love her accent. I have her do it whenever I want an important call. I'm like, you call.
Yeah, sounds good. I know TV.
Exactly.
It sounds so much fun.
All right, stand by to change out.
So I have notes because this is my first time. So
You,
I'm usually looking at my
you're
notes.
allowed to have notes all the time. That's why there's note cards. Where's the remote?
Well, you didn't.
She's
No, but you know what?
Look for
You
remote
see,
is
you see
where-
people on today's show and everything else, they all have notes.
You're on this notes.
So don't.
That's true.
all right.
I want to see the logo. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's just, I like it. I'll show you.
Very cute.
Okay, what's your stand in town? Okay. What's your stand? Oh, in between. Oh, look at.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm gonna take a picture of it. That's super cool.
This is such a wonderful space.
Thank you, right? Now I know you do small jobs.
Yes, exactly.
Right?